The one with Monica's Thunder is such an amazing episode of Friends. I absolutely love it. This is one of those episodes I could watch again and again and again, and I don't think I'd ever get tired of it. It's the first episode of the 7th season. It's directed by Kevin Bright. And as always, there will be spoilers from now as I go through the episode and share some thoughts. For the most part, I'm going to go through things chronologically, but I'll talk very briefly about Joey, first of all. Joey has an audition to play a 19-year-old. Of course, nobody thinks he can play 19, but they try and encourage him. And then we have a moment that I absolutely love. Chandler is sitting playing Crash Team Racing. That is my childhood favourite PlayStation game. Absolutely love it. It makes me so happy. And obviously watching it as a child and a preteen who also played the game at the same time, really thoroughly enjoy it. And Joey comes out in an interesting costume, and well, he says "Sup the whack PlayStation sup," which every time I hear the word PlayStation, I hear that. Definitely a beautiful memory from this episode. Really thoroughly enjoyed it. Takes me straight back to my childhood. I think I must have watched this one a lot as well as a child, not just one that I could watch a lot now. And it's brilliant. Joey is fantastic in this. The rest of the episode, I will go through things pretty much chronologically, which I don't usually do with Friends. With Friends, I will usually group things by part of the narrative, as I've just done there with Joey. But the most of this one is one main narrative, and it starts off... Well, it basically starts off where it ended, pretty much. And Chandler... It's difficult to watch now, especially as I've just finished watching the previous episode. I watched it yesterday, and then I'm watching this one, and the difference in Matthew Perry is so striking, and it's really emotional to see. So that's the only thing about the episode that now is not that great to see, and it's emotional. But aside from that, it's a very funny episode. Monica is on the balcony shouting, "I'm engaged, I'm engaged," and well, then Chandler can't perform in the bedroom, and Phoebe wants to sing at the wedding. And those are not the biggest problems for the characters in the episode, because a little while later, Ross and Rachel bump into each other in the hallway. And what's interesting about this is Rachel really initiates everything here, which I think really kind of shows where her head is at the moment. And she mentions that Ross was always good at the stuff, her words, and she mentions bonus night. I don't know if that's a thing, but it's where two people who used to be together get together for one night of sex, no strings attached. It's very clear what she's thinking here. And the next thing we see with Ross and Rachel is Monica opening the apartment door to Ross and Rachel kissing. And Monica is obviously really annoyed because her thunder is being stolen, and Ross and Rachel point out nobody saw, it's okay. It seems like they're going to get away with it, but then other people start to hear this, and everybody finds out that Ross and Rachel kissed. And I kind of see where Monica's coming from, because obviously everybody wants to talk about that, but she just wants her night, well, her and Chandler's night, to be about the engagement, which I think is completely fair enough. And we get a bit of a mystery for a couple of seconds, well, a couple of minutes, when Monica says she doesn't want to talk to anybody, especially Rachel. And Rachel wonders why, and she goes to the bedroom with Ross, trying to figure out what Monica could have possibly meant by this. Ross is still thinking they're going to have sex. He keeps displaying his hands because Rachel liked his hands. There's a lot of physical comedy from Schwimmer in this, which I really enjoyed. In fact, I think he was a lot of the comedy in this one. There are a few specific moments in a little bit that I'll highlight that I really loved. And we then find out Monica gets into an argument with Rachel, and we find out why she didn't want to talk to especially Rachel. And this is because at Monica's Sweet 16, Rachel got to third base with Monica's cousin. Honestly, I feel like that's a little bit anticlimactic, because is that really a big deal? I imagine there were, 16-year-olds, probably a lot of kids making out. I don't know, maybe not, but I feel like that just wasn't that big of a deal. But nevertheless, it clearly upset Monica at the time, and she feels like Rachel's done the exact same thing again, made the night, Monica's night, Monica and Chandler's night, all about her, which of course was not Rachel's intention. And then they're all in the bedroom, and Chandler, Monica, Rachel, and Ross. And I love this. I love how this played out. Rachel finally tells Monica that she was feeling sad because it makes her realize that she's just not even close to getting married. And it made her upset. And I guess she turned to Ross for comfort and reassurance. And she pointed out, this is not something I thought of actually, but Rachel pointed out, you were so depressed when Ross got married, you slept with Chandler. And I think that there would really help Monica to realise how Rachel was feeling, because that's how Monica felt when Ross got married. And I thought that was quite interesting, and I think that was a really good thing to put in there. I think that made a lot of sense. And they apologise and make up, and Monica says, I'm sorry I almost made you sleep with Ross. Ross's face in that moment is just absolutely brilliant. And Ross is about to leave. Sex with Rachel is clearly not happening. So as he leaves, he displays his hands again. And he says, the only person who's going to enjoy these bad boys is me. And the comedic timing and his facial expression here, both are amazing. Because we wait a beat as he says that. And then his face it doesn't drop necessarily, but it just kind of deflates as he just gives up. He is defeated. He's not even going to care what he just said. Obviously, there's a heavy implication there of what he just said. And he's just resigned himself to just giving up with the evening. And it was just a very funny moment. As I said, Schwimmer was, as always, really brilliant. But we had a lot of great moments from him. And that final scene there, or I guess penultimate scene there in the bedroom, was just so beautifully executed. Funny, emotional. Everything made a lot of sense. I really enjoyed it. And I'm glad they wrapped things up in this episode. They could have continued it to the next episode if they wanted to, but I'm glad they didn't. I think it makes sense to wrap it up here. And then we end with Phoebe singing outside Monica and Chandler's door while they're clearly trying to be busy. And Chandler ends up taking away Phoebe's guitar. And it was a funny way to end things. I really enjoyed it. It's an absolutely fantastic episode. I don't know if I have personal highlights because the episode as a whole is just fantastic. But if I were to try and mention some, I'd say Monica on the balcony I loved. And Ross's physical comedy, his facial expressions, that line about Monica sleeping with Chandler, which I think helped really put things into perspective for Monica. And yeah, Phoebe's songs. Phoebe had some really catchy songs as well. Oh, and Crash Team Racing, of course. Let's not forget that. And Joey's costume. Joey's costume looked fantastic. So, needless to say, I think the one with Monica's Thunder, I think it might be one of my favourite episodes. And that's saying something. There's some really great episodes, but I think it's really high up there. Where is it on IMDb? I'm going to have to check this. Okay, so actually, to my surprise, on IMDb from top rated, it's number 132. Now, these are obviously just to be taken with a pinch of salt. Not everybody uses IMDb to rate. I don't ever rate anything on there. But the ones that are near the top are generally considered to be some of the absolute best. So I'd expected that to be a lot higher. I'd love to know if anybody else thinks that this is just a truly spectacular episode. Very funny, very well done, really thoroughly enjoyed it. For me at least, the one with Monica's Thunder is a pretty perfect episode of Friends.